And Anil Padmanabhan, senior journalist who has been covering business affairs for more than 30 years, is joining us. Thank you very much, Mr. Padmanabhan. So, what sectors contributed most, you think, to this growth? And what do you think? I mean, how do they impact the overall performance?
Look, the best part about these Q4 numbers are that most of the sectors have performed extremely well, barring exports, which is for obvious reasons. But manufacturing has done well, agriculture has done well, and more importantly, gross fixed capital formation, which is basically the capital formation in the economy, which is what will determine the growth momentum in the future, has
Yes.
grown by about 6%, which is very impressive. All of this is more impressive given the circumstance in which this economic growth record of sorts has been managed. We know that since 2020, the world and India have been facing extremely inclement times. Never before in the economic history of the world have we seen five back-to-back such incidents which have rocked the world
Right.
economy, including India's. So this performance is extremely credible.
Mr. Padmanabhan, how does a growth rate of 6.5%, because it's seen by some, as a four-year low, compare favorably with other emerging and large economies?
Mark, compared to in terms of sheer growth rates, not the economic size, this growth rate is among the best in the world. Maybe a one odd country might be slightly better. So to say that it's a 4-year low is a complete, I mean, it's mathematically right, but a misnomer. Like I just explained to you, the context that we are getting a 6.5% growth is most inclement, unprecedented. And let's not forget that we are in the middle of an ongoing conflict with our troublesome Western neighbor.
Right.
So these are very difficult circumstances, and to deliver such a good growth is extremely impressive. You should be proud about it and talk about it.
Also, Mr. Padmanabhan, what role did private consumption play in the GDP growth? Because what does 7.2% growth in private financial consumption expenditure actually say about our consumer behavior?
Mark, that's a very important metric because for the first 6 months of the last fiscal year, there were, for a host of reasons, including the ongoing general election, the everything took a hit. Government consumption, private consumption, particularly urban areas, was hurting because of a continued phase of high inflation. But what we have seen in the last 6 months is a recovery in that consumption. Of course, it's been led by agriculture and the rural sector, but the good news is that even consumption in urban areas is on the mend. And now the IMD has just forecast an above normal monsoon.
Right.
It's in fact a fantastic early onset. So if you club this with the economic momentum we are seeing, and we are looking at the onset of the festival season in September, October. So consumption is actually going to grow from here on. May not accelerate dramatically, but it's definitely not going to be flatlining.
Also, what are the reasons then for construction and public administration sectors also performing well?
Mark, for public administration, one key reason is, like I mentioned earlier, in the first 6 months of the last fiscal year, government spending had taken a hit. But in the second half, they kind of caught up with what almost. So that is what you're seeing manifest in the numbers that you just mentioned.
Right. Also about construction then? What about construction?
Construction again, Mark, because of the capital formation in the economy
Yes, yes, you
and
mentioned that.
in easing of inflation, the rollout of fresh investments, we are not really surprised. And real estate has also been picking up. So you connect all these dots, and we are not really surprised that construction has picked up.
Mr. Padmanabhan, so what are the implications then? We've seen from October it was 6.2, then it's now 7.4, the Q3, Q4. So we're looking at some sort of pickup and momentum. What can we expect in FY25-26 then?
Mark, it's very difficult to hazard for the full year, but broadly we would stick to about 6.5%, which is what even the Reserve Bank of India and the Government of India are projecting. So, which is a very healthy growth rate because it will be on top of 6.5%. But if the global economic situation improves, or if Trump tariffs begin to see some level of sanity, then you're going to get an unexpected boost from the export side too. So you may actually err on the upside. So I believe that 6.5 would be the base, and we could look at a slightly higher growth rate, but it would even 6.5%. Please keep in mind the extremely inclement times. It will be an extremely impressive growth once again.
And what are the prospects also for the industrial sector, for manufacturing? Services we know are doing well, but also given the fact that you mentioned certain external factors, what about services and the exports of services?
Mark, export of services has already reached a peak. Given the global situation, if we maintain that, that's great news. But in terms of domestic manufacturing, there are a lot of good tailwinds which are emerging. One, the Reserve Bank of India has already initiated a rate cut cycle, which means cost of capital will go down, particularly your working capital. There's also a sustained effort to make sure small and medium sector, which is a key part of the Indian economy, gets access to better credit, particularly working capital. So, and what I just mentioned earlier, that the capital formation of the economy is doing pretty well, is growing at 6%. All of this augur a good investment, decent investment momentum. And again, I'd like to flag in the exceptional circumstances that we are in. So we need to see it in a context.
And we leave it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Anil Padmanabhan, senior journalist. Thank you very much for joining us and putting all this into context for us.